Hey, just on another big policy issue, we obviously have been waiting to see what the effects of the Liberation Day tariffs would be. There's just been some breaking news in the last few hours saying that the trade deficit in the United States has narrowed to its smallest level since mid-2020, down more than 35% of the last year. Now, some people are saying that this is proof that the America First trade agenda is working. Are people feeling this in America? And obviously, there's going to be a much longer lag before local manufacturing starts to take up some of that slack. Is that being taken up by higher prices?
Yeah, as is so often the case with a snapshot piece of economic data, you can read a bunch of different things into it. There's some really good news here on its face, which is exports are up about 3% year over year. That's a pretty good jump on U.S. exports. And to your point, we haven't even had the time yet to sort of ramp up domestic manufacturing, take advantage of some of the trade barrier walls that have gone up. So that's good news. Of course, if you want to look at the other side of the equation, I think it's right to ask, okay, why have people been buying less stuff overseas? It's because it's more expensive because of the tariffs. Okay, that's fine. Have they been able to find stuff domestically that they want for a good price as well? That doesn't show up in the trade balance. If I bought a Toyota from Japan, that shows up in the trade balance. If I don't buy a Toyota and I go buy a GM, that doesn't show up in the trade balance. But if I don't buy a Toyota and I don't buy a car, then that's a different story entirely. So a lot of the questions are going to come out in the next couple of months as to what's the real meaning behind this data. Is it because of the tariffs, or is it because the economy is slowing? So again, some really good news here for the Trump team, and some information that makes you sort of say, well, okay, let's wait and see what the next couple of months look like before we jump to too many conclusions.
Yeah. Hey, Mick, also wanted to ask about this piece here that was in the New York Times this week. I kind of had a laugh of it. It was a truly delusional piece of the New York Times featuring Kamala Harris being interviewed about her 2028 political intentions and much, much more. And among other things, she called herself a historic figure and boasted that there would be a statue of her on Capitol Hill. Is this part of some sort of effort to maybe get her up again in some capacity in 2028, or are we just pandering on to
Yeah,
the great ego of Kamala Harris?
I think there's a lot of ego in this. Granted, that she's not the only politician with a tremendous ego. You sort of have to have it to get into the business. But I have no idea what the former vice president is doing. By the way, the statue is real. Anytime you've been in the Senate and you end up being the vice president, you get a statue. That's just the way I could take you through the building right now, and everybody who checks those two boxes, vice president, and in the Senate, gets a statue. So yes, she gets a statue automatically. But this woman's political career is over, so I'm not really sure what the New York Times is doing. I mean, she's probably going to sell more books than she could get votes. What people forget, James, and you remember this, and what I think the New York Times forgot in this piece, Kamala Harris is a terrible campaigner. In 2016, she ran for president of the United States. She ran in the Democrat primary. She had to drop out of the race before the Iowa caucuses. And for folks who don't follow American politics that closely, that's the first race. So when you drop out of the campaign before the first race, that means you weren't doing too well. And then, of course, she got waxed by Donald Trump just last year. So she's got a long history of doing very, very poorly running for president. I have to admit, I have to believe that her political career is over, that Democrats want her political career to be over. But for some reason, she's on the front page of the New York Times. So go figure.